Okay. I'm not too big of a man to admit when I'm wrong. And I guess I was wrong about Rogue One. What's going on, guys? James here. Thanks so much for tuning into the next chapter of the Star Wars Rewind series. If you're not familiar with what that is, that's me watching episode 1 all the way to The Last Jedi leading up to The Rise of Skywalker. You're basically joining me as I rewatch every single Star Wars movie leading up to episode 9. Now, sometimes opinions change for the better and for the worse. In the case of Rogue One, a Star Wars story, well, you have to keep watching to find out. Now, before I get started talking about Rogue One, if this is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James. Now, if you're wondering who that is, that's me. And I love talking all about movies, so I drop a new video each and every week. You don't want to miss out. Go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell right next to it so you keep up to date with anything new that I drop. Don't be afraid to like this video and share with all your friends in the galaxy, and in the comments below, let me know what you think of Rogue One. Alright guys, I think I'm ready to get started to talk about Rogue One. I gotta get prepared for some of y'all calling me out after this video. So let's go ahead and talk all about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Now, this movie's a departure from the first 3 films because we have an entirely new director, entirely new composer and writer. Director Gareth decided to take control of Rogue One until it was stripped away because of reshoots in the second half of the movie. That's when writer Tony Gilroy came in because Lucasfilm was super worried that this movie was not going in a very positive direction. Gareth Edwards brought a darker tone. Disney and Lucasfilm wanted a much lighter, happier tone. So that's where a lot of the reshoots happen in the second half of the movie. Now, the first half, being the half I like more, is a little bit more gritty, it's darker, it's everything I had hoped for from Rogue One. And it's also a story that I wanted to learn about. How did the rebellion get the plans for the Death Star to blow it up in episode 4? That's it. That's the plot. And actually, I'd say it's pretty well executed. Right away, I noticed Rogue One is not your traditional Star Wars movie, and that's because you don't get that, amazing, iconic crawl. The letters, war. In this film, it basically starts you off right away in the action, and then it gets to the title card. And then the score is completely different. I love Michael Giacchino. His score in Up is fantastic. In this movie, it's actually pretty good, but I had some reservations about the direction it took because sometimes it felt Star Wars, and sometimes it just felt kind of like a score. It didn't really have that feel for a Star Wars movie. Luckily though, the world of Rogue One really came to life and actually felt the most like Star Wars compared to the prequel movies. I mean, Jedha, oh my goodness, you guys. There's a lot of practical effects, sure, ton of CGI in this movie, but I didn't like a lot of the little intricacies, in the marketplace when you're going through, and then there's like that really rugged atmosphere. It's just really well done. And one of the reasons I love the first half more than the second half is really the cinematography. The world really played better to that darker tone, the low lighting atmospheres. When it got brighter at the Battle of Scarif, it wasn't a bad thing, it just, for me, it felt a little bit more Rogue One-y in the beginning, if that's a word. Now, there are some things in the first half that I didn't really like too much, and that's the world jumping. It almost felt like it was going too quickly, and my head was spinning trying to remember exactly what planet we're on. But eventually the film settles into its own, and then you get introduced to Diego Luna. He's outstanding in this film. Diego Luna plays Cassian Andor, and he's a rebel pilot. The guy can act his butt off, and in this movie, he brings you a very different hero to root for because he legit straight up kills a guy in the first 30 minutes of the movie. Just shoots him right there. And it's nuts. I'm like, okay, well then. And of course, very quickly, you get introduced to Felicity Jones' character, Jyn Erso. And I remember getting into Rogue One the first time and being incredibly excited for Felicity Jones because I think she's a great actor. And I do like exactly what she did with the character as the film kind of went on. But it took a while for me to grow to her acting in this film because I don't think it's the strongest. And there are some lines that I felt maybe were delivered a little bit poorly. But I do like exactly how the character ended up, and I'm not going to spoil it for those who might be rewatching this series along with me, but yeah, the end is definitely justifying the means. Now, the supporting actors in this movie really are pretty strong as well. Alan Tudyk, if you've seen Firefly, it's a great series, and I think you'll love him in this movie as well because he plays K2SO, and so funny, so clever, very slick. I mean, the guy is smooth. Then you have the legendary Donnie Yen playing Chirrut, and Baze' sidekick is played by Wen Jiang. I do love that the writers gave us these shining moments with characters like Chirrut, Baze, and K2SO because I felt like it really allowed us to love our good guys. Now, there is one supporting actor I felt that should have gotten more shine, and that's Forrest Whitaker as Saw Gerrera, who basically assumes responsibility for Jyn as a baby, trains her up, lets her go, and then she comes back eventually. But the movie didn't do a good job at writing him into many scenes, and I'm not sure if they cut that out, if there's a director's director's cut somewhere, please. I'd love to watch it. But Saw Gerrera is not on screen for a long time, and that's disappointing for me because Forest Whitaker embodies that like bare bones, gritty feel that I love so much about the first half of the movie. Now, there are the roles of the Imperial generals and sergeants and troops, but the best bad guy in this movie, and one of the best bad guys in the entire Star Wars canon, is actor Ben Mendelsohn. Oh my goodness. Now, he plays director Krennic, who's in charge of basically developing the Death Star, getting the plans, engineers, and everyone together. I love Ben Mendelsohn, honestly, outside of all this, but he's such a great addition to the Star Wars universe. I found myself really enjoying the film as it started to get closer and closer to the climax, but then when it got there, the Battle of Scarif, which is one of the best battles I've seen in a Star Wars movie, it almost felt that I was let down. And the reason I was let down is because there's this dark, gritty tone, like I keep saying, in the first half, but in the second half, it feels a little too bright. And not only bright because of the lighting, it just the dialogue. I think the writing got a little bit weaker. You get your corny one-liners that you're so used to hearing, and throughout the entire film, you keep hearing this line, "The Force is with me and I'm with the Force." And it was really annoying in the first half. It was still annoying in the second half. But I understand, one part of the movie has to appeal to a more mature audience, and the second half really appeals to a wider audience. Now, of course, Rogue One has a lot of callbacks to the previous Star Wars films. One very important scene, the Darth Vader sequence at the end. Yeah. Guys, that's top tier Star Wars right there. But this movie had a lot of important and gripping moments just like that. I don't think I really realized how much I liked Rogue One on the third time versus the first and second time. Maybe it's because my expectations were way too high. But honestly, I found myself really enjoying Rogue One. Really, it's the best film that I've watched so far throughout this Star Wars Rewind series. I was definitely wrong about Rogue One. You know, I'll eat my words. Alright guys, so that's my take on Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I can't wait to see what you guys talk about on social media because, like I said, I was trashing this movie. If you enjoyed everything you just heard and saw, go ahead and hit the big red button below, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell right next to it so you don't miss out on any future chapters of Star Wars Rewind. Oh, and don't forget to share this video with all your friends in the galaxy, like it, and in the comments below, let me know, where does Rogue One rank for you after seeing all the prequel movies leading up to Rogue One? Alright guys, so until next time, I'll catch you at the next screening. Hey, put the pitchfork down. I said I liked Rogue One. Yeah, friends? Okay, we're friends.